Hello, I'm Dale Carden. I'm the Senior Advisor at the US-UAE Business Council. I'm pleased to introduce our exciting new digital series, The Council Talks COP28. In this monthly series, we speak to representatives of innovative American companies who are championing sustainability and playing a vital role in supporting COP28 in the UAE. In this first episode, we hear from Eugene Willemsen, PepsiCo's Chief Executive Officer for Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. He's also the co-vice chair of the Business Council's Board of Directors. Eugene discusses PepsiCo's embrace of regenerative agriculture, the need for public-private collaboration to combat climate change, and his expectations for COP28. PepsiCo is pioneering new sustainable technologies in various sectors affecting countries around the world, starting with agriculture. Now, over to Eugene.
PepsiCo at the heart is an agricultural company. So we operate across the world in over 200 countries, and we work with about 100,000 farmers across the world. So at the heart, we are an agricultural company. And as part of our PEP Positive strategy, which we launched about 2 years ago, we've committed ourselves to implementing regenerative agricultural practices across the equivalent of the agricultural land that we're using to grow our crops. Of course, this requires intense collaboration across the entire value chain. And that is one of the, I would say, challenges or opportunities that we're working on with partners and stakeholders across that entire value chain. We're making good progress, but obviously we will need to pull in more partners in order to really deliver against the very ambitious metrics that we've set ourselves. We launched it 2 years ago. It's comprised of 3 different pillars: positive agriculture, positive value chain, and positive choices. So in positive agriculture, we've committed ourselves to transform the equivalent of the agricultural land that we're using to regenerative agricultural practices, but also to uplift the livelihoods of 250,000 people that we engage with within our agricultural value chain. Within positive value chain, we've committed ourselves to become net zero by 2040. And that is an enormous commitment and also undertaking that will require tremendous collaboration throughout that value chain. And of course, we're also in that process engaged with governments across the world, and specifically also within the division that I'm leading, which is Africa, Middle East, and South Asia. And then on positive choices, we are very focused on further evolving the choices for our consumers and further evolving also our portfolio, reducing the amount of added sugar in our beverage portfolio, reducing the amount of saturated fat within our foods portfolio, but also including different ingredients and positive ingredients across that food portfolio. First of all, I am optimistic, and I really hope that we're going to commit to sticking to the 1.5 degrees Celsius at COP28. And then second, when it comes to the role of the UAE as the host for COP28, I really hope, and I'm also convinced, that it will be a COP of action and a COP of real commitments. Commitments across the different industries, sectors, but also across the entire value chain. Also, I think there's a big opportunity for us to foster stronger public-private partnerships, specifically in the field of agriculture, which, as I mentioned earlier, for us is absolutely critical in order to deliver some of the commitments that we have signed up for as part of our PEP Positive strategy. It is indeed a massive ambition that we signed up for. And we cannot fully do it by ourselves. So we will need to work with other partners across the value chain in order to deliver our objectives. But some of the things that we're leading and that we're driving, also within the AMISA sector. First of all, we're on a mission to create a world where packaging never has to become waste. And over the last couple of years, we've been very successful in launching recycled PET in 6 of our markets now across AMISA. By any stretch of the imagination, that's absolutely not enough. So we need to work with governments across the sector to ensure that the regulatory framework is there that enables us to use recycled PET in our packaging, but also that the appropriate collection mechanisms are in place, and that there's a recycling industry in those markets that gives us the possibility to buy recycled PET at market competitive prices. So that's just one example that we're working on with other stakeholders, but that we're driving and that we're leading in all of our markets across AMISA in order to create this world where packaging never becomes waste. And packaging obviously is an important contributor to our total greenhouse gas emissions, and as such is also an important contributor to us becoming a net zero company by 2040. First of all, in the area of packaging, as I mentioned before, I think it is very important that there is a regulatory framework in markets that allows us, as well as other industry players, to use recycled PET in their packaging. It's not just the legislative framework, but it's also the support from governments in helping set up appropriate collection mechanisms and systems in those markets. And then second, in the area of energy, it is important that we unlock purchase power agreements across our markets. That enables us to make a much faster shift to renewable energy, which then in turn also helps us to achieve our net zero ambition by 2040. So those are two examples where governments can lean in and can really support the industry in their ambition and in our ambition to become net zero.